Hi there, my name's Chris Cann from Mining Journal. I'm here with Hugh Agro, who's President and Chief Executive of Revival Gold. Hugh, welcome. If I could get you to start with just a brief overview of Revival, where you're focused and what you're looking at the moment.
Revival Gold is a new growth company in gold. We're led by industry veterans, and we're focused now on the Beartrack-Arnett project in Idaho.
Okay. On Beartrack-Arnett's recent exploration had 70 metres at 2 grams per tonne, which we're obviously very happy with. Just looking at how that sits within the historic understanding of the mineralisation of that specific area, and then what it looks like in more maybe a regional context and the resource that you're looking at for that area.
Yeah, we're very excited about the results we got this year at the Joss area in the Beartrack system.
Okay.
We've got over 6 kilometers of strike length, of mineralized strike length. And what's fascinating about it is it's continuous the whole way, so far much as we've drilled. These results were impressive, yes, but what's even more interesting is the higher grade core to that, which is about 4.6 grams over about 20 meters. So we're really interested in the potential in the Joss area. So
say it's essentially open. The system is very much open. What kind of extensions are you looking at from where you are, and are you allowed to talk about what kind of numbers that you'd be looking to establish from a resource perspective?
It's the right question because we're talking about mill resources. So we'll need a critical mass of material to justify the capital involved in putting a mill in on the project. And what we've got is about 12 kilometers of potential strike length for the system. And within the 6 kilometers approximately that we've already defined, we've got 2 million ounces of resource, and we're building on that as we go.
Okay. From a regional perspective, I understand you've got a reasonably impressive land holding. What's your understanding of the geology and what that could yield? Is it looking like something like a hub and spoke type model there ultimately? Is that what the hope is?
Well, in a sense there is a hub and spoke aspect to this because we've got mineralization in the main structural trend, which is a shear zone at Beartrack, and then next door at the Arnett project area, right next door, we've got what looks to be an intrusive related gold system. And there we have oxide and leachable material, which we're looking to utilize in the legacy infrastructure we have at Beartrack.
Hugh, I understand Beartrack-Arnett has a fairly interesting history.
It's wonderful. We assembled the land position from several different owner groups, and one of those groups dates back to the first governor of Idaho, Governor Hugh, who was a real gentleman and a leader. So lots of history here in the local area. In fact, it was settled by miners back in the mid-1800s and then has grown from there. Over 3.5 million ounces of gold have been discovered or produced from the land position that we now hold.
Again, I assume that means that there is plenty of skills on hand for any potential development that Revival's looking at.
Very good point. We're in a ranching mining community, and so people understand the value of the land and how to work the land, and so lots of skills and lots of understanding around responsible mining in eastern Idaho.
So I understand there is essentially a 2-track business model to this. Can you help me understand what that looks like?
Yes. Well, in a capital challenged environment, we want to have a relatively near-term, relatively straightforward project in a leach restart. We've got existing ADR facility, leach ponds, power to site, roads, and we're very close to a town of 3,000 people, so no requirement for a camp. So track 1 is really to get that leach project back up and running. The longer term potential, and actually the more exciting longer term potential, is around the possibility for a mill operation. And so as I was mentioning earlier, we are focused on both tracks at the moment, building towards near-term production and a long-term large mill project possibility.
And leaning either way at this point?
It's difficult. Again, we've got the option and the luxury of having both projects moving along side by side at the moment. And our next real milestone in that regard will be to do a combined resource for the project area in its entirety, and we'll have that out first quarter next year.
Okay, so we're mid-exploration, looking at an aggregated resource first quarter of next year. What other milestones should investors be looking at? Maybe if you can take us out to the end of next year, if that's not too far advanced, and maybe when you're looking at a decision on ideally which track you're going to take.
Sure. In the very short term, we'll be out with a second phase of metallurgical test work. We'll be out with that before the end of this year. And then we'll have our resource update. And then going forward from there, I think what we'd like to target is a PEA on that leach operation restart that I was speaking about earlier. And we should be able to get that done by the end of 2020. We'll have more on that following the resource release.
Okay, and financing, how are you financed at the moment, and are you any plans or need to go back to the market?
Well, we're a development company, so we'll be back to the market eventually. But the trick in all of this is to continue to deliver progress with the project, de-risk the project, move it forward with good, solid, systematic exploration and development work. So next step for us is the metallurgical test work, the updated resource. Those aspects are all funded, and we'll be back to the market with news on those fronts, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so essentially we're looking at getting the next phase of results out,
Right.
all paid for, and then having a look at the finances and what's needed to take it through to the development decision.
Exactly.
Okay. Hugh, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.